Hey there, my name's Brashler, and in this video, I want to show you how to use the P24 Mixer, personal monitor mixers, with the StageConnect output of your Behringer WING. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear, no matter where you're starting from. Also, if you're looking for some weekly audio tips and tricks, head over to my website at audiotoolkit.co, where I have weekly tips and tricks that are free, that come straight to your inbox. There's a link down in the description below, or you can head over to audiotoolkit.co. But let's go ahead and dive in and see how we can get the P24 system integrated with our WING using StageConnect. Now, the Behringer WING has the StageConnect port on the back of the mixer, and it is an XLR output, and it gives us the ability of having 32 channels in total bidirectionally, so 16 inputs and 16 outputs, or 32 outputs or 32 inputs. There's a lot of flexibility with this StageConnect. Now, it is a distance that we can send over a DMX style cable up to 40 meters in length in the total system. So if you have a 10-meter XLR between your StageConnect port on the WING and your first P24, then you can only have up to 30 meters for the second cable. So the entire system has to be less than 40 meters in length, which honestly is a very long length. So it's going to be okay for a lot of people out there. But as you are using the longer lengths, you will want to use a 3-pin DMX style data cable, because it is a data style source that's being sent down that cable. Now, you can, on smaller lengths, get away with just using a simple XLR cable. But in some cases, on the longer distances, you will definitely need to use a DMX style cable. Now, as far as the P24 system integrating with the WING, it's very simple. You just go ahead and plug in our StageConnect. I have found that on the second unit, you will need to apply the DC power that comes with the P24 system, and that way you can then daisy chain longer if you want to. But I have my first P24 connected in directly into the back of the WING with the StageConnect, and then I am going out into the second, and I have a power supply powering the second unit. Now, you can add more if you want to. Now let's go over to my routing and go to my sources and pull up our source group of StageConnect. Now, once I'm here, I can press rescan, and it will rescan that StageConnect to see what devices are connected to it. Now, because this is set to an automatic configuration, it is going to automatically configure the WING with the correct amount of output sources and input sources for our setup. So if I go over to my outputs and I pull up StageConnect, I have 1 through 24, and that would be my 24 channels that can go to my P24 mixers. Now, 1 and 2 would be the stereo or mono pair for channel 1. My 3 and 4 would be the mono or stereo pair for channel 2. Now remember, we can have these set up by default as a stereo input. So you have a stereo guitar. We can send that stereo guitar down 1 and 2, and it will be right here as its single fader for that stereo guitar. Now, if we wanted to have 2 mono sources, we can also do that. So say a kick in and a kick out. I could send that down 1 and 2 and then pull this up. And if it was set to stereo, I would have my kick in on one side and my kick out on the other side. Now, if I set the mode inside of the channel to dual, then that gives me the ability of mixing and blending between those 2 inputs, which is a great way of adding some more inputs into your P24 system if you are running out. So that then continues all the way to 23 and 24, which would be the pair for our channel 12. Now, one other thing about StageConnect is we have 25 and 26, and these happen to be the Talkback mic that goes to the mixers. So if I have my front of house Talkback, I can send that down my 25 or 26, and it will appear as a mono blend on this Talkback volume knob that's right here. And so one of my favorite ways of doing this is going into my sources, going to my user signals, and then I can set up a post fader tap for my front of house talkback to one of these channels. So I have my front of house talkback going to user 21, and then I also have an MD talkback that's up on stage that is going into user 22. So let's go ahead and route these. So I'm going to go to outputs. I'm going to pull up my StageConnect, and on 25, I'm going to go from my user signal, and I'm going to unlock and go front of house talkback, and then my MD talkback. So both of these channels would show up on my talkback. So if I grab this microphone and I press my talkback button, both of the talkback lights on our P24 system are turning on, showing that I'm talking into this talkback mic. And I can go ahead and stop, and then we will see that this talk will go away. Now, as far as sources that come back from the P24 system over the StageConnect, we can go check out our input sources and go to our StageConnect. And we have 6 channels here that are coming back into our wing over our StageConnect. And the first set of 3 is going to be from our first P24 system in the length. And then our next set of channels are going to be from the second P24 system that's in the chain. And so I have my aux mic here that is built into my P24, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that up. And what we can see is that 1 and 2 happen to be the source from my P24, being the mix. So my mix that I'm creating here on my first P24 can be brought back into my console, and then I could route this to an XLR output for a set of wireless in-ears. So for instance, if I had my wireless on my AES50A, and here is my DL32, I'm going to go to my StageConnect, and I'm going to route my StageConnect 1 and 2 to my outputs 1 and 2 on my DL32. Now the output of this P24 mix is now outputted on my first 2 XLR outputs on my DL32, which then I can drop into a wireless in-ear pack, and then that musician can have their P24, but then be listening to it wirelessly. Same thing with my second unit. My second unit has its mix being outputted on 4 and 5. And then I will route 4 and 5 to this next set of outputs. And then if I go over to my mixer and I turn up my aux mic, we can see that I have these channels coming here on 4 and 5 from this mixer. And if I turn this down, we'll see those disappear. Now I bet you're wondering, well, what is 3 and 6 then? Well, that is the output of the talkback mic. So if I press and hold the talk on my first P24, we will see that on StageConnect 3, we have audio. And if I go to my second P24, we will see it pop up on 6. So if we were wanting to route those into channels so then you could listen to those, you definitely can. Now this is by far the simplest way that you can set up your P24 system with your Behringer WING is just using the StageConnect, and you can just buy the individual mixers and not have to purchase an additional hub. But there are a lot of benefits to the P24 hub, including 16 analog TRS line level outputs that allow us to take the mixes from 8 of the P24s and put them right into wireless in-ears if we want to in that same rack that we have the P24 hub. The other benefit of the P24 hub is it powers up to 8 of these devices just off the StageConnect outputs that are available on that P24 hub. So if you haven't already, check that out. I have a link down in the description for both Sweetwater and Guitar Center. I hope this video was helpful for you today. You know, the P24 system is a fantastic system that I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of churches and venues and bands using. It's a huge step up from the P16 system. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you do happen to have any questions, or there's a video that you're hoping that I would make, drop that down in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com, where I have a bunch of presets and templates available for sale for the Behringer WING, X32, and the X-Air series. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.